My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system, which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. Alrighty, this is P.O.C. I want you to pay attention to the light activity that's resulting when they're driving through light that's flying through the air, light that is streaming across, and also you want to pay attention to the time. It's 7:28 a.m. when I'm on this same street, this same bus stop. When I'm at the CHEVRON, when I'm at the ARCO, when I'm at BETHEL congregation, 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the fake sun is still over me at this same position. This is all stalking. You want to pay attention to the desperation of sex offenders who are always finding a way to touch you, which you're paying attention. The impossible light activity when you're driving by, and it's creating what is a means of touching, light activity. Their shadow of their vehicles is what is reaching across the street. That's a form of touching. While they're all engaging in what is essentially a sex act, and it's a sexual act of violence amongst an entity that is stalking you, while they are always monitoring this obsession with the light that's not even naturally occurring, speaking to what is intent regarding a criminal purpose, monitoring you, committed in furtherance of murdering you. The sex offenders, the psychopaths that are sitting inside of the OVITT Family Community Library, stalking, sitting around me, pacing around, just like this, pacing around in engineer light, creating what is light activity, sparking light, mentally ill behavior, while they are demons who are monitoring. Your shadow is not reaching across, moving across that wall. At nightfall, their headlights are not causing light activity and causing my shadow to project against the wall. These are forms of touching, the same pattern of conduct. So as I've already shown you, driving in light that's flying in the air, that's light that's on the curb as they drive through. Creating light activity, engineered lights appearing on the passenger side of their vehicle while the fake sun's on the driver's side of their vehicle, and the shadow of their vehicles are reaching across here, okay? That's a form of them touching me. So as one vehicle after another, this is hundreds of people engaging in what is a form of touching you, which is unlawful. And it's relevant to what is recognizing impossible light activity. The intent to engage in what are extreme measures of what is a sex offense. The entity that is touching with that which is not naturally occurring for a criminal purpose, serving your demise, while they're engaged in criminal activity. 9PXS800 is a sex offender. The shadow of that vehicle moving across the sidewalk, that's for touching me. That's a sex offender. And it is a sex offender intentionally going this route at this time to engage in that sex offense. The entity does so as a legion of demons are stalking. Legions of demons. Legions of them. P.O.C. This is state action. All right, this is the legions of demons that are keeping genitalia under surveillance as well. They are indeed sex offenders. They're no longer secretly engaging in surveillance. They're no longer secretly engaging in stalking. They're no longer secretly engaging in what is invading your privacy and doing things such as stalking you in bathrooms, because that's what they're doing. They're sex offenders and they're psychopaths. Okay, this is P.O.C. The disorders are shared by those that are going to be removed from positions where they engage in murdering mass amounts of people, all right, and calling it a tragic accident. No, gang stalking is not a tragic accident. Criminal surveillance that the American people are subject to is not a tragic accident, and that is engaging what is stalking planes present a national security threat to the American people, and they are equally engaged in stalking with light, that's certifiable conduct that a population shares. This is P.O.C. This is indeed MSBOSS, a heavily documented stalker. She's going to be prosecuted in that manner as well. She's engaging in the pattern of conduct, and serial stalkers are going to be prosecuted. You're talking about federal prison. While the entity is engaging in that, and it doesn't matter if you work where the fake sun is rising, I'm going to prosecute you. The superseding pattern of conduct is what is going to override, because the entity literally formed this pattern of conduct with regard to you're never being able to prove that you're being stalked by your family, by your friends, where you work, where it is that you're traveling, because of the way in which the pattern of conduct is designed. The specific environment follows you, and so does the entity. Okay, you're going to be prosecuted. This is P.O.C. This is domestic terrorism that's underway in the United States, and this is informing those around the world what the United States is doing to those who are coming into the country subject to this pattern of conduct, and the ways in which the United States is targeting with those that are outside of this country as well. And the entity is doing it before you, before the public, and this is what you need to be informed of. The entity is engaging in this pattern of conduct with what is impunity. They are stalking right now while you are looking at the evidence, speaking to the fact that they conspire to murder people. They sexually violate them. They criminally monitor and psychologically torture them with disregard for the rights of another, disregard for law and order, which is speaking to the national security threat that you need to be aware of, and the reality of demons, legions of them, who do not care about the law. They do not care about you exposing them. In fact, it incentivizes them to engage in more aggressive, more hostile, more violent conduct, which is a threat to you. This is mental illness. This is surveillance. It's not traffic. They decide to continuously engage in it. The fake sun is how you know that. And the fake sun is how you're going to analyze it. These are the mentally ill that are not parents. Their demon-possessed children are violent terrorists. They are a threat. They're sex offenders. They're engaging in the pattern of conduct, and that's because they're monitoring spirits. The monitoring spirits are the ones that are gang stalking, over and under majority. Companies and those that are representing those driving in their private vehicles. The government is targeting directly. This is mental illness while you're looking at psychopathic pacing. This is psychopathic pacing, and what they're doing in planes is psychopathic pacing. Walking on the sidewalk in the engineer light, maintaining that presence on both sides of my person. This is the P.O.C. This is the pattern of conduct, and this is the city of Ontario that's going to be gutted out, okay? When you're walking in that engineer light, you are monitoring, all right? You're engaging in that when you're driving in it. They're doing so while the entity maintains the environment inside of buildings, like inside of Starbucks, like inside of McDonald's, like inside of Carl's Jr., like at the ARCO and the Chevron gas stations, like inside of the OVITT Family Community Library. That's psychopathic behavior as a population is concentrating all of the pattern of conduct wherever you go. They do so until they murder you. They obsess over you and every move that you make. They are demons. They are not normal human beings. And the fact that they're engaging in criminal surveillance in front of all of you witnesses is your evidence of it. Take heed to the warning. This is not spreading fear. It is factual information that you need to be aware of. The facts are that which is speaking to inform you and empower you. This is P.O.C. It is currently 7:34 a.m. This is lawlessness that is going to remove the officials in the city of Ontario and the state of California. This is going to reflect back on them and harm them because they're engaging in this lawlessness, which those that are in positions of authority are going to be answering for, and the people of the state are going to prison. Okay, they're engaged in that P.O.C. and they also are when the police are committing kidnappings with them, they're going to prison. When they're engaging in criminal summoning with them, they're going to prison. When they're engaging in what is harassment and conspicuous stalking with them, they're going to federal prison. P.O.C. It is currently, like I stated, 7:35 a.m. This is P.O.C. This is psychopathic pacing. 9 PTC 938. Ontario Montclair School District. That is the demons that are in custody of the demon-possessed children are engaging in surveillance at D Street and Vine Avenue. 8EOV 988. These are demons that are stalking together. 8ZKE 723. They're doing so with regard to tracking my steps, knowledge of who an American citizen is that they are together stalking in furtherance of murdering that person. That murder is commissioned by the government, not an unknown occurrence pursuant to a pattern of conduct. That is the fake son, 9JTZ011. This is the documented 503 D Street, where the fake son and the Ontario International Airport are gang stalking, which I have into the afternoon. This is the entity that's maintaining impossible light activity over their homes, maintaining impossible light activity on the ground, maintaining what is in that specific environment shown to be nothing other than pacing back around. These are demon-possessed psychopaths, and this is what they're actually doing. Going back and forth and back and forth. They're mentally ill, and they are trying to feign being sane, feign being law-abiding citizens, and also feign being, not stalking you. And all they're doing is stalking. 9MET656, that's the impossible light activity coexisting with stalking. 9MET565, And this is, again, the demons that listen to them being documented, engaged. That's a Latino male. Minor children on the bus. License 1628187, and you look at the light activity, that's a show of aggression by sex offenders in custody of children. 1537140. The entity engages in that also with helicopter activity while they're monitoring your evidence, engaging in what is threatening you, sexually violating you, using children to do so as you documented in real time. They also engage in having sex with children. They replicate that violence as well while I document the fact that they are pedophiles. License 7KRX529, that impossible light activity, which is, again, coexisting with what is the fake sun. 8:06 a.m., the fake sun is remaining over me at the bus stop where Jay Sandoval is making a threat, remember? But when I move away from that bus stop and I'm walking and the people of the state are maintaining presence, 8 SIR 804 is stalking, not engaging what is traffic. Nor is it traffic when you're molesting with impossible light, where you're also targeting. And you're a psychopath. You prosecute the company and the demon operating the vehicle, representing a company that's engaged in a pattern of conduct for the purpose of murdering an American citizen that company is stalking, keeping under surveillance, in conformity to a statewide pattern of conduct. This is the entity that does so with the school districts, with the teachers, with the bus drivers, with the school janitors. With those that are engaged in so-called maintenance, they're engaged in what is genitalia surveillance. They're engaged in what is stalking with light. They're engaged in what is targeting and furtherance of murder. That's why you see demons driving buses as I document that pattern of conduct, and they engage in replicating it. And this is the psychopathic pacing. D Street and Vine Avenue. P.O.C. These are the demons that go into the library and take shifts stalking. 8ZBA169. Mentally ill. Mentally ill. This is another iteration of the sparking with light while they're stalking in my path inside of a building. 9FHW154. Their obsession with the light is they are demons who are stalking altogether. Obsessing also over my genitalia in this same manner. They're in their homes all stalking. 8TYW527 is stalking with every demon in the path. And they are all inside of what are facilitated venues, not private property. And this is changing the laws while the people of the state are showing you how domestic terrorism is executed in the U.S. They're being deported. They're being separated from children. They're being prosecuted as terrorists. They are going to federal prison while they share in kidnapping and murder of the American people. 8MYC396. And this is the threat that are the demon possessed. Okay? P.O.C. 6RLJ068. 9GDR343. 9WTW365. It's 8:08 a.m. The entity has the fake sun that's remaining over me at the when I'm remaining at the Ontario Town Square, and I showed you from 7 in the morning until after 4 p.m. I'm moving far away from the town square. I'm engaged in real movement, and the population is stalking. That is proven through what is the specific environment. Okay, the supernatural presence that the sun would be at the Ontario Town Square as I'm documenting, and then also what is a supernatural occurrence where that fake sun does not remain like you document it, where the entity is stalking as an airport, following with the population, in furtherance of murder and violent sex offenders, perpetual sex offenders. 9EDS186, stalking with light, stalking you in bathrooms, keeping you under surveillance, violating your privacy, and doing so with children and doing so to children. This is P.O.C. It is currently 8:09 a.m. This is 503 D Street, where the entity is engaging in what is massive surveillance. The government is remaining inside of these homes. They're not private citizens. It's not private property because of the government's pattern of conduct that's underway by the people of the state in all means, at all places, and at all times. This is changing what is the actual operation of a system, which is speaking to an illusion regarding private property, regarding private rights as an individual. This is the entity that's engaging in what is that pattern of conduct. That engineer light is speaking to what is state surveillance, not a private citizen. This is, again, speaking to what is all state action as well. And this is speaking to the way in which the entity is going to be prosecuted and what is mandating changing the ways in which the laws are operating, the ways in which they're designed to appear and the illusion that they're creating, such as privacy, such as individual rights, when the government is actually acting through the people of the state to engage in what is a government pattern of conduct while they are sharing in what is a matter of public corruption, where you don't have any private property rights. And people like Starbucks, companies like Starbucks, they know that. They create these laws in order to engage in obstruction of justice, which I documented. So while they're engaged in this pattern of conduct and you're engaged in then kidnapping under Section 602, when you're engaged in what is criminal activity on behalf of a government, a public entity, whose shoes you are in, you're going to prison for that. That's called malice. That's called malice. So I'm breaking down the malicious pattern of conduct, the malicious system that incentivizes, that facilitates, enables it. While the predators are stalking you themselves, they're not private citizens. These are all state actors, and the cockroaches are going to prison. The cockroaches give birth to demons as well. You saw the underage minors engaging in terrorism. They're giving birth to them, and they're engaging in that P.O.C. together. Okay, this is P.O.C. It is currently 8:10 a.m. under the fake sun that remains over me. The fake sun remaining over me is speaking to what is stalking by a population in their homes, where they work, as they travel. On the roads and the highways is what the language speaks of under Title 18, Section 226, Section 2261, sections, subsections 1 and 2, okay? This is the P.O.C. federal stalking statute. All right, the entities engaging in this pattern of conduct, and they're doing so while they are engaged in what is interstate commerce. So that's why I'm speaking to the entity that's stalking by plane, helicopter, using the train, using the roads and the highways, okay? Interstate commerce is relevant to the entity that is engaging in surveillance. So this is speaking to the ways in which your privacy is being violated and the ways in which you're engaging in surveillance and the entity is engaging in surveillance, okay? This is P.O.C. It is currently 8:11 a.m. at 503 D Street. Alrighty, this is federal stalking. You can see my shadow here on the ground. You can see my shadow up here. You're stalking, okay? And you're also a demon. The entity is maintaining plane activity because the people are stalking, maintaining presence, and while you are walking to the left and the right, making noise, going into the facilitating venue where impossible light is inside, this is a society of demons who are stalkers and they're psychopaths. They're all vagina monitors, and they're sex offenders that are engaging in that violence on behalf of the government. This is the engineer light, where I'm capturing images. This is psychopath pacing. These are the ones that like monitoring my vagina with the ongoing engineer light while I'm inside of the restroom, and Stater Brothers is engaging in the P.O.C. This is what I documented the other night, the demons with the hard hats on. Doing so, it doesn't matter what they're engaging in, digging into the concrete under the fake sun amongst the engineer light while they're pacing. The fake sun's no longer over 503 D Street. It progresses as I progress, just like the plane activity, where there's no terminals taking off or landing. 9JLB 367 TK 649 handicap. This is the pattern of conduct, and a population is engaging in surveilling you. The entity is doing so while you are witnessing it. You're witnessing the evidence of demon possession. You're witnessing the evidence of massive surveillance in the United States. Speaking to the hypocrisy of this country as it stands on an international scene, comparing itself, juxtaposing itself to other world leaders, other nations that are supposedly engaging in that which is inferior to what the United States is engaging in. The United States is engaging in what is oppressing American people, targeting them, and doing so with its own citizens. Not the government itself acting with regard to its own despotic regime. The government is doing so with the people of the state, okay? The heights of hypocrisy, the heights of corruption, murdering them, stalking them, engaging in demonic activity amongst them together. This is the evidence of what is the fake sun. It's 8:39 when I'm documenting at the Ontario Town Square where the fake sun does not move. This is not beside the clock at the Ontario Town Square. The demons of the Ontario International Airport are not flying beside the clock where the fake sun is remaining on the side of that clock. The entity is maintaining that fake sun at that square, at that OVITT Family Community Library Civic Center area, as I document later on that same day after 4 p.m. The entity is keeping the fake sun at what is 646 West HOLT. Light that is occurring for the gang stalking purposes of demons that are filling a grocery store so that they can pace all around me. Stalker 6YFS884 under the fake sun intentionally and knowingly. Also, intimate knowledge about my vagina while they're engaging in that and listening to every syllable that I utter. These are the demon possessed that are not normal human beings. They're also engaged in criminal conduct, and it's all state action. This is P.O.C. It is currently 8:40 a.m. where the mental illness of an entity is going to be used to prosecute them. Their mental illness is psychopathic. P.O.C. It's pacing by the employees. And they're all monitoring my phone with real-time knowledge. These are demons that are poor actors, acting like they're not stalking, act like they're not monitoring. The light activity speaks volumes. The fake sun, the stalking by the government outside, which I just captured on video. They're pacing inside of a grocery store. This is psychopathic behavior, which is a threat to your life. Using the announcement as a means of audible activity monitoring while they're all pacing. They're under a covered structure. Light on the wall. This is surveillance. You already know the light activity that they're in. This is bad acting. His shadows appearing on the wall. They're monitoring. Stater Brothers is engaged in the conspiracy to commit murder. Every employee and patron sharing in that state's pattern of conduct, while the entity maintains that light activity, which is also a threat. It's also the evidence that's going to be used to diagnose mental illness by those that are going to be prosecuted. It's P.O.C. Don Quinones, okay, the manager regarding what is terrorism at your neighborhood, Stater Brothers. Engage in federal stalking. Section 2261A, subsections 1 and 2. Okay, this is P.O.C. and it is 9:32 a.m. That's never going to be the product of either the fake sun nor the natural environment. These are demons, and the demonic environment is letting you know that, in addition to their behavioral pattern. P.O.C. This is the P.O.C.